Welcome back to episode 2 of Real Estate in Charlotte, North Carolina. In this episode, I'd like to welcome Ms. Aaliyah Gilbert. She's a realtor with BG Luxe Group. And Aaliyah, for our viewers, can you give yourself the background of yourself?
Of course. So, my name is Aaliyah Gilbert. As he said, I am born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. So you have met another fellow unicorn, Rise a unicorn himself.
Not many of us left.
Not at all. I graduated from South Mecklenburg High School on the south side of Charlotte, playing basketball, and then I got a athletic scholarship to go play basketball up at Appalachian State. I was up there for about 5 years. And I had a great time up at App. I loved App State, the mountains, the scenery, the people, just very welcoming. Everyone up there is so nice. I love App State. I graduated in 2023. So once I graduated in 2023, I knew that I wanted to get into real estate from a young age. So I started taking my real estate classes after I graduated and got licensed, and I finally was active in February of 2024. So, yeah.
And seeing that you were a student athlete at App State, can you talk about how like the work-life balance is? Well, not work-life, but I mean, being a student athlete is like work too.
It
so
is,
kind of like
indeed.
that balance of being a student and an athlete for a Division I program.
Absolutely. Being a student athlete in college definitely builds characteristic. More than a lot of people know, you have a lot of time management you have to build on. You develop discipline, you develop putting other things in priority of having fun. So, I mean, sometimes you can't go out to parties, sometimes you can't go out and have fun with friends because you may need to study for an exam, do some more homework, write a paper, like things like that. Also, just like your days are super crowded. You wake up, you go to weights, you go work out, you may have time to shower, you may not. Depends on when your next class is and how far it is across campus. So your days are literally like jam-packed. Me personally, I had to deal with an injury as well. So even though practice is over after 3 hours, I was still there an hour after everybody else left, just trying to get treatment, taking care of my body. So a lot of my days, half of my days were literally in the gym working out. And the other half, I had to make sure I carved out space and time for my work and also myself, because mental health, I would go crazy if I didn't take care of my mind while I was there.
That's right.
So, yeah, it definitely develops a lot of discipline and time management for sure.
And seeing like how much you had to put into being a student athlete is something similar like being in real estate, because a lot of your time and effort is going to real estate as well. So what are those transferable skills from being a Division I athlete and now stepping into being a realtor?
My biggest one I would say is communication. In basketball, we communicate all the time, up and down the court, all throughout practice, all throughout the games, even off the court as well. Like, we communicated to make sure we had a good dynamic throughout the team.
Right.
So communication when you're talking to your clients, when you're talking to other agents, when you're trying to schedule appraisals, inspections, making sure everything is going through smoothly with underwriting, whatever the case may be. Communication is definitely one of the biggest takeaways that I've rolled over from being an athlete and into real estate. Also, persistence. Like, me coming back from an injury, I had to continuously do the same things over and over and over again, just to build strength back, obviously, and be able to get back on the court. So, like, being resilient, being persistent, and consistent, all of those character traits roll over into real estate. You have to be consistent in your work. You have to be consistent in promoting yourself. Being in real estate, like, you never stop advertising yourself wherever you are. You have to let people know you do real estate when you do real estate, because nobody would ever know if you didn't talk about it. So,
Right.
yeah.
No, I can definitely see that, like the consistency, being persistent, because it's the same thing rolls into like being a realtor, because this is a 1099 position. So like, you don't have a paycheck. Like, whatever amount of work you put in is what you get out of it.
Exactly.
And then we still got bills, we still got stuff that we have to take care of our end. So you have to put yourself out there and being consistent, whether that's doing, say, an open house every weekend, whether that's, following up with all your clients every day that you have, people you've talked to, being consistent and making those posts on social media,
Exactly.
doing like different lead gen things. Like you may not be rewarding right then and there, but just being persistent. And like you said, it's the same thing as being a student athlete.
Because your lead now could be your buyer client a year from now.
Right.
Following up, being consistent, communicating. I mean, you should never, ever let anybody slip through the cracks. That's one thing a lot of real estate agents do. They let some clients slip through the cracks by not following up, communicating. I mean, I've gotten people signed just from following up and communicating.
Right.
So I'm just saying, free game.
No, that follow-up is huge because even I'm still learning that, like, within my first 2 months, like, anyone I've ever talked to, even if they mention anything, like, oh, yeah, I'll be looking to buy a house, like, in a year from now. Well, you know what? Like, let me follow up with them. Let me stay top of mind.
Yeah.
Even a year from now, like, I can still get them prepared to, in that steps to buying a house because,
Exactly.
like, a lot of people who are first-time home buyers don't know the steps of what it takes to get to home ownership.
They
So
don't.
the follow-ups are huge.
Very huge.
And so back to BG Luxe. So I know you said you had joined BG Luxe, but it wasn't the first real estate brokerage you joined. So can you just go through your process and your journey of like this first like year and a half in real estate?
Absolutely. So when I graduated, obviously I had, my godmom had referred me basically to a couple of different firms. But the one that stood out the most to me was Henderson Ventures. They had the work ethic, the aesthetic, the branding, the marketing, everything that I loved. I loved Henderson Ventures. I joined them. I was able to go over there and join Henderson with Nilu and Gerald. And I mean, it was like a family atmosphere over there as well. We started our own, there were different teams over there, so different groups. So our group was the BG Luxe group. Bree was my team lead, Bree Gaither, who is now my broker in charge. And so it started out with 3, and then we grew a little bit to 4, and then we grew to 5. Actually, it kind of like went from 4 to 5 to 4. But we started off there as a group, and Bree was such an amazing leader. I mean, I would follow her anywhere, literally. Intelligent, ambitious, just a boss. Like, I was very, very excited to be under her as a team lead. So when she expressed that, she was going to be excelling and going to create her own firm, there was no doubt in my mind that I would be following her to her new firm. So basically our group came from Henderson Ventures. We transferred into BG Luxe Realty, and now we've been BG Luxe Realty since about last December.
Okay.
So December of 2024, we had our grand opening January 31st
Nice.
of 2025. So it was very huge. I'm so sorry you weren't able to be there. It was a night to remember, I'm telling you.
It's all good. I'm in here now, though.
We throw the best events.
For sure. Well, I definitely got to make it out to your events.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You will be invited for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nice. And so you mentioned Bree. So would you say like Bree is someone that you look up to in the real estate world?
So Bree is such a heavy hitter. She's ambitious. She's consistent. And as a leader, she has all the traits that you would want in somebody that you want to follow. She's encouraging. We have meetings every week. We have one-on-ones. She is interested in what our goals are. She's interested in targets that we want to hit, even just as women, as individuals, and as real estate agents. Because a lot of the women in our firm, they wear many hats. We have mothers, sisters, daughters, of course. So it's a well-rounded like firm. Like we hit all angles just to make sure we're developing and excelling in who we want to be seen as, who we want to be remembered as, and that's just the type of person that she is. She makes sure that we can hit those goals and that we're represented the correct way.
Nice. Would you say within BG Luxe Group, like you said, y'all are a very diverse group?
Yes.
Well, being an all-women's firm, but like diverse, like in different backgrounds.
Yeah. For sure. Definitely different backgrounds. everybody came from. I know me and Bree are the only ones who are actually born and raised in Charlotte.
Oh, okay, so she's from Charlotte too.
Yes, yes. So, and even just us being from the same city, she grew up on a different side of town than I grew up. So, like, there's diversity in that as well. But, yeah, all of us definitely came from different ways, different backgrounds, different upbringings, and it's molded us into the same spot. We're all still here, working for the same goals, being successful, representing ourselves in an incredible way, and hitting achievements that not a lot of people have hit. So
Right.
it's crazy how you can come from different things and different places and still end up in one spot. It's like divine timing, just God's way of just
No,
bringing
I
people
definitely
together.
believe in that for sure.
It's amazing.
Yes. And then one of my next questions is, so far through your first year and a half within real estate, what has been like the highlight of your real estate career so far?
I feel like my highlight is always going to be my very first transaction I did. Just being able to actually like be someone that people are going to for answers, like
Right.
it makes you feel sort of just like accomplishment because you worked so hard to even get there. It's hard to even get your real estate license in the first place. Getting your first
telling.
transaction, yeah. Getting your first transaction is very memorable. I think especially like going through the process, I mean, you're realizing like how long 30 days really can be, because that 30 days, you're emailing, texting, calling. Imagine when you have like 4 or 5 clients at the same time.
Right.
And this is just my first transaction. I'm only working with one person, one family. So going through that whole process, communicating, reaching out to clients, reaching out to inspectors, appraisers, the lender constantly, the attorneys constantly, trying to make sure everything is on track, because you really have to make sure things are
Right.
on pace for 30 days.
Because being a realtor in that transaction, you're the person like, you're kind of like the glue girl. in a sense.
Exactly.
So like you're the person setting up everything and guiding the either buyer or seller through that period and saying like, hey, we got to get this done, we got to get that done, and then you're also holding accountable everyone else, like you said, the appraisers, the home inspectors, and
Exactly.
like everyone.
Exactly. Literally.
So I can see how it's like you're kind of like a jack of all trades and then bringing everybody together.
Exactly. And you got to do that for 30 days. I mean, nothing is done until you get to the closing table.
Right.
That's what I like to tell. Nothing is done until that ink is dry. Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
Anything can fall through. That's why you have reputable lenders that you work with, reputable attorneys that you work with, people that you know will get the job done and are going to do exactly what they say they're going to do.
For sure.
That's the only people I can work with. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. And then nextly, have you ever experienced kind of like a low moment in your first year and a half? So this question's kind of twofold, like that low moment, and then what did you do to kind of bring yourself out of that rut?
I mean, I feel like always, like when you're not selling is probably a low moment as well. You're kind of just like, you have to figure out a way, even if you don't have a client today, you could have a client a week from now or a client a month from now. So you have to continue to just kind of like continuously pour into yourself, continuously post, continuously tell people what you're doing, continuously show people that you're still out here working, even if you may not have the clientele to show it. The only person who can work for you is you, and the only person who can get to those clients for you is you.
Right.
So you just have to continuously pour into yourself and stay positive, because, I mean, all it takes is one really good transaction. One really good transaction, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That's all you need for real. And a lot of people don't do real estate like full time. Sometimes it's part time. So it really just depends on the goals. For me personally, I do it part time, but of course, the goal is to make it full time.
Full time, right.
So
It's kind of hard to be in real estate like part time because, like, you know, all the stuff that you have to get done. Because maybe when you have your closing, it's like, oh, okay, I have this job I have to take care of too. But then I have to get the closing table because, you know, that's something that I'm passionate about as well in real estate. Then, you know, getting the inspectors, appraisers, like getting everything together when it comes to hosting open houses or like staging a house for a listing, and that like it's like a full-time job in and of itself, especially if you're really getting into real estate.
It really is. And of course, like when you're really getting into it, you're really going like, I mean, head first into the fire, literally. Like you have to go 100% in marketing and branding yourself, figuring out what your niche is, letting people know that this is what you do. And so, of course, when you're doing a part-time job, your availability is very limited.
Right.
So yeah, you're working way harder than another real estate agent probably is.
Right.
But you know, like eventually, those days become easier to manage, and then you can eventually pay people to do that. Those transaction coordinators.
I heard obviously I don't have one yet, but
Yeah.
I heard they're clutch.
Yes, very. So then you don't have to do all the phone calls. You don't have to make sure the underwriting is this, that, and I's is dotted, T's is crossed. You have your transaction coordinator for that. Of course, you would do your part as a real estate agent ethically, but
Right.
the paperwork, the signing, the making sure everything is there, transaction coordinators, for sure.
What does that mean? Like T? Or
That's T.
my sister
Like that's
told
the
me about
one. This is what it means. This is a good one. It can be good or it can be bad. It can be a like you did that, right? Like you did that. Or it can be a clock it, like you just said something that was totally true and people need to pay attention to exactly what you just said. Clock it.
I'm weak.
Girl lingo.
Girl lingo, for
Yeah.
sure. And now my last point is what's a hot take in the real estate industry? Something you might ruffle little feathers on.
I don't know. One thing I always do say is, okay, so I always say that you're paying 100% interest when you're renting because you are paying 100% interest when you're renting and it's going nowhere, not even to you. But it's okay to rent. Like renting is not the end of the world if you want to buy a house. Like renting is a good place to be short term if you're trying to have space for yourself or trying to save up money as well for being a homeowner. Being a homeowner does take a lot of responsibility and accountability. You have to keep your house up. You have to keep your house clean. You have to make sure your gutters are not getting full. Make sure the siding of your house is not pulling off or, you know, like
Stuff like that.
you know, you got to power wash sometimes. You know, you got to keep stuff up. And you can tell, like, when people take care of their house and people who don't take care of their house. So, understandably, like, being a homeowner is more than what a real estate agent may always put out there.
Yeah.
Because, of course, we want y'all to build wealth and generational wealth and build equity and things of that nature. But it does come with more than
Your fair share of responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like, it is a lot that can come with home ownership too.
Exactly.
And I can definitely agree with your point too, because you know not everyone's in a position to buy a house. You know, eventually, like that is the goal for a lot of people. But say like right now, you may have the 21-year-old who's fresh out of college. Their goal probably is to rent, or someone who they may be someone in their 30s. They have like 2 or 3 kids, and you know. They've had a few mishaps in their past, and they have really bad credit. So their goals right now is maybe to rent, build their credit back up. So just understanding like where they are at in their life, and then maybe their goal like maybe 3 to 5 years down the line is to buy a house. You know, we can start helping them get on that track to buy a house.
Exactly. And I met a lot of people like that. Like, if you're doing that, you're not the only one, and it's totally fine. So, yeah, that's my hot take.
So yes, thank you so much, Aaliyah. It was great talking with you today. This is amazing. This is gonna go on my YouTube channel, so y'all tune in soon.
Subscribe, like, comment.
All that. And thank you guys for viewing. I'll see y'all later.
Bye.